Story 1, The Haunting of Hollow House. Nestled deep within the dense woods of Hollowville, there stood a decaying mansion known as Hollow House. Its eerie reputation for being haunted had kept the locals at bay for decades. Those who dared to enter claimed to have experienced the inexplicable. It was a cold, moonless night when Sarah and her friends decided to investigate Hollow House. They'd heard the tales, but skepticism had always prevailed. The night's silence was oppressive, and a thick fog hung in the air, obscuring their vision as they approached the house. The front door creaked open ominously. The first floor was a maze of debris and shattered furniture. The air was musty and laden with a sinister presence. Sarah felt a chill on her neck, the hairs standing on end. Shadows danced on the walls, whispering secrets only they understood. As they ventured deeper, a cold wind swept through the hallway, blowing out their candles. Panic set in, but they continued, guided only by the pale moonlight streaming through the windows. They stumbled upon a grand, ornate mirror that stood undamaged amidst the destruction. The reflection it cast, however, was anything but ordinary. It showed a phantom figure, its face twisted in agony. The group fled, running down the hallway, but the door slammed shut, sealing them inside. Sarah's heart pounded as they heard a soft, mournful wail that seemed to emanate from the very walls. They were trapped in this malevolent place. Terrified, they climbed the decaying staircase to the second floor. A faint whisper echoed from above. They followed the voice to a room shrouded in darkness. A ghostly apparition materialized, a lady in a tattered wedding gown, her eyes empty voids. She beckoned them closer, and they approached her slowly, compelled by some unseen force. The room grew icy, and Sarah felt an invisible hand gripping her throat, making it difficult to breathe. Then, the apparition spoke. Her voice was sorrowful, her tale one of betrayal and murder. She was Emily Hollow, the original owner of the house, and her husband had murdered her in this very room. Her rage had kept her soul tethered to the mansion for centuries. Sarah and her friends were her only hope for release. With trembling hands, they promised to help her find peace. In a flash, the apparition vanished, and the room became warm again. The doors swung open, granting them an escape from Hollow House. They never returned to that cursed place, but the encounter haunted their dreams for the rest of their lives. Story 2, The Weeping Willow Cemetery. Weeping Willow Cemetery was a place of eerie beauty, where the shadows of ancient trees cast long, twisted silhouettes on the gravestones. It was here that a group of friends decided to conduct a séance to contact the spirits of the departed. Among them was Chris, a self-proclaimed skeptic, who believed that death was the final end. As they gathered around a weathered tombstone, they lit candles and began the séance. The wind picked up, and the temperature dropped drastically. An oppressive aura surrounded them, and even Chris felt his skepticism waver. A woman's mournful voice spoke through one of the group members, uttering words that none of them had ever heard. She identified herself as Eliza, a young woman who had died of an unknown illness in the 19th century. Her voice was tinged with despair as she described the agony of her death. The séance intensified as Eliza's presence became more pronounced. Her icy fingers brushed against their skin, leaving a trail of goosebumps. The candles flickered wildly as her energy coursed through them. Eliza revealed that her spirit had been trapped in the cemetery due to a malevolent entity that haunted the grounds. Chris, still a skeptic at heart, couldn't deny the overwhelming evidence. He was a logical person, but what he witnessed defied all reason. He began asking Eliza questions, trying to understand the nature of the malevolent entity. Eliza described the entity as a dark, shadowy figure that fed on the souls of the deceased. It had trapped her and other lost spirits in the cemetery, and it hungered for more. She implored them for help in banishing the entity so that she and the other trapped souls could finally find peace. Over the next few weeks, Chris and his friends researched the history of Weeping Willow Cemetery and discovered a forgotten ritual that could banish the malevolent entity. They returned to the cemetery one night, armed with knowledge and determination. As they performed the ritual, the sky rumbled with thunder and lightning. The ground trembled, and a dark, shadowy figure emerged. The entity fought back, but they persevered, invoking the power of light and love. The entity shrieked in agony as it was banished from the cemetery, and the trapped souls were finally free. The cemetery, once shrouded in darkness, now felt peaceful. Chris had gone from a skeptic to a believer, forever changed by the experience. He left Weeping Willow Cemetery with a newfound understanding of the afterlife and the power of the paranormal. Story 3: The Malevolent Doll. In a quaint, old house on Oak Street, lived a family that was blissfully unaware of the dark secret that lay hidden within their home. The house had an old, dusty attic filled with forgotten relics, and it was in this attic that a sinister force resided. One day, young Emma discovered an old, tattered doll hidden among the cobwebs. Its porcelain face was cracked, and its eyes held an unsettling emptiness. The doll was dressed in a faded, lace-trimmed dress, and its hair was matted and disheveled. It gave off an aura of malevolence, but Emma was drawn to it. From the moment Emma brought the doll into her room, strange occurrences began to unfold. Objects moved on their own, and chilling whispers echoed in the dead of night. Her family dismissed her claims, attributing them to an overactive imagination. But as the days passed, the doll's influence grew stronger. Emma's once rosy cheeks grew pale, and she became withdrawn. Her personality shifted, and she began speaking in a voice that was not her own. The doll seemed to possess her, manipulating her actions and thoughts. Terrified, Emma's family sought the help of a paranormal investigator, Dr. Harper. She conducted an extensive investigation and uncovered the doll's dark history. It had once belonged to a vengeful spirit named Agatha, who had been wronged and bound to the doll by a malevolent curse. Dr. Harper realized that the only way to break the curse and free Emma from the doll's grip was to confront Agatha and convince her to move on. She and Emma's family gathered in the attic, where the doll was first found, and performed a séance to communicate with the vengeful spirit. Agatha's presence filled the room, and her anger was palpable. Dr. Harper, with great empathy, listened to Agatha's story of betrayal and injustice. She offered her forgiveness and a path to release her from the doll's curse. With tears in her eyes, Agatha accepted the offer of redemption.